Very good evening. I would like to thank Journal of Orthopedics and the editorial team for giving me the opportunity to present on the topic graphical abstract, which is a very important tool for our research. Myself, Dr. Madhan Jeyaraman, I'm working as an assistant professor of orthopedics in Sri Lanka Medical College and Hospital. So, what does this image indicate? The image on the left side indicates the research, and the right side indicates the dissemination, how to disseminate. So here comes an important tool called graphical abstract. It is nothing but this graphical abstract will give you the summary of an article's important findings in a visual manner by using either icons or infographics. So a research has been shown that eightfold increase in sharing graphical abstract than text only abstract in the social media. And this graphical abstract has a higher hand among the readers because it takes 6 seconds for the reader to read about 20 words, whereas which is represented in a pictorically, which will take only 1/4 of a second. So this graphical abstract is highly influenced by social platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And the other one is LinkedIn. So among these, one person acts as a creator of the infographics or the various topics. 9% act as editors, and remaining 90% of the viewers were just consumers of that particular research. So this will help the reader to purview the subject content and to decide whether to read the whole file or not. So what is the triad of the graphical abstract? We have three things here. One is it enhances dissemination of the research, what we have done. Second one, it augments the engagement of particular readers or the peer reviewers. And the third one, it's the impact on a clinical practice. So how to create a graphical abstract? There are certain tips to be followed. First, we have to identify the content for creating the abstract. So what all contents to be kept? Because of the space limitation in the abstract, what all the contents have to be kept? Only positive findings to be taken. And the second one is flow of information. The flow should be coherent. Then usage of icons wisely. Diversity and inclusivity. What to be included, what not to be included. And the fifth one is feedback. We have to show it to our peers and to ask the feedback about the graphical abstract. These are one set of tips. The other set is title. The title should exactly match with the findings and what we are intended to tell the scholars. The second one is the font. For example, if you take geriatric population, they may have visual problems. So the font should be in an appropriate manner. It should match with the background of your slide. That space and alignment, because the space is very limited in the graphical abstract. So only positive, important findings which will hitch the readers, that has to be kept. Attribution and copyright. The image which we are going to share should be free from copyrights. And the final checks have been done by 2-3 persons, which are all our colleagues or our peers. They will help us to give the feedback on what we added, what to be neglected. So these are the 10 tips to be followed for creating an effective graphical abstract. A graphical abstract has 4 areas. That is, the area A is title, area B is methods, the area C is findings, and area 4 is conclusion. So I'll show you an image. This is taken from a LCB website. The 4 areas. This is the first area. You should consider a visual abstract wallpaper. This area is area A, where a title has to be kept. Area B is the methods. Area C will be the finding, and area D will be the conclusion. And bottom, the subscript of the abstract should be kept for name, designation, and journal logo. So what are the design principles for a graphical abstract? One is the clarity of purpose. The first one is the clarity. Why this abstract has been created? For what is the use of this abstract? The second one is rapid prototyping. How to rapidly go through the abstract. How fast the reader can read the abstract. Third one is the thoughtful restraint. What thoughts have to be taken back from seeing the abstract? And the final one is relevant creativity. The creativity should be good. It should explain what we are intended to tell the community. So there are certain review articles and papers have been published by Ibrahim et al. These 3 papers tell us how to create a graphical abstract, what are the rules and regulations to be followed while creating a graphical abstract. So how to create? First one, this is a vicious cycle. How to, first one is choosing an article. We have to choose an article, then create visual fields. We have to develop 3, 4 fields according to the areas A, B, C, D. So create a visual field and target the visual field with only the particular point with what we are intended to tell. At the subscript, we have to think about the author name, and journal logo, and outcomes. What are the outcomes we have to put for an article has to be kept accordingly, and important findings should be added. The final one is visual icons have to be added, and finally export the graphical abstract in the JPEG form. So what are the debates available on graphical abstract? Who can create graphical abstract? Either the author or the journal's editorial team or the third party. So what specifications have to be there for graphical abstract, and who will review the graphical abstract, and who, how, where it should be disseminated? The first one, if first A, who has to be create graphical abstract? It's better the author creates the graphical abstract because author is the sole owner of the manuscript who will be knowing what positive results has to be disseminated. Second one, specifications should be laid out by the journal, that is author's instruction section, it has to be laid out. And the third one, who will review? Either the author or the reviewer, section editor, or editorial chief of the journal. It is the editorial team who has to review the graphical abstract created by the author. If needed, the corrections can be intimated to the author to correct the graphical abstract because it is the face value for the entire manuscript. And who, how, where it has to be disseminated. It has to be disseminated in 2 ways, either the author or the journal editorial team. They can create a media profile in the social medias where it can be disseminated. A Journal of Orthopraxy has published a crossover randomized trial of visual abstract versus plain text tweets for disseminating orthopedic research. They concluded that public engagement on orthopedic research is very low, but since visual abstracts are used to communicate research through social media outlets such as Twitter, the overall engagement on the orthopedic research has increased with visual abstracts than plain text tweets. Social media in surgery, what they tell. This social media has a great impact on science dissemination, journal article discussion, and presentation of conference news. The immediate and real-time presentations of studies, articles can be highlighted in the social media for public engagement, and surgeons and other physicians should learn how to use novel communication technology to disseminate their research and to have a public interaction. Now, one more report on influence of social media on the dissemination of traditional surgical research article. If an article is being done, how to disseminate? Social media plays a major role. Here, once the article is these Bakarma et al. They have studied a survey on how article is reaching the community. So the article's online activity peaked in first month and plateaued by fourth month. When a blogspot is released, the engagement of readers are more in a blogspot than a plain text abstracts. So social media is very much essential for disseminating the research on a scientific basis. So blog posts resulted in 9% increase in social media influence score and 5% absolute increase in total article page views. So what are the value of social media in disseminating the research? The first one is connecting investigators with a common interest. Second one will be the relevant scientific questions will be asked. Clinical trial networks can be formed, and patient engagement and public awareness can be tried out, and outreach research can be tried. Information on sharing knowledge and dissemination promotes the scientific research among patients, students, and the scientists, like-minded people, and increase the visibility of surgeons, scientific role models, and finally is the feedback and database, creating a database. So what are the pitfalls we come across graphical abstract? These graphical abstract is not a substitute. First one, it is not a substitute, and since the graphical abstract is attracting and appealing to the viewers and the readers, it will be used as a substitute for the manuscript. The second one is oversimplification of the research will lead to a misinterpretation of the results. And the readers, since it is appealing and attractive, it leads to non-reading of the whole manuscript. The next one is the space limitation. Potential pitfall here. Because of space limitation, we may not be able to tell what we are intended to tell through the research. And when we give the graphical abstract to the third party to create, there may be a fallacy, misinterpretation, bias, and inaccuracy in releasing the results. Sometimes the third party may use it as a salami slicing and create a different graphical abstract. Quality check is a main thing which has to be checked among the graphical abstract which is created by the author or editorial team or the third party. And the author may use it for the self-promotion and appraisal, which should be drastically avoided. What are the future directives in creating the graphical abstract? Report the longer period to capture more engagements for graphical abstract to determine the citation in the later stage. This is the first directive we have to think about. The second one is on the engagement of the reviewers or the tweets on graphical abstract by either professional or personal accounts have to be identified, which will pave a long way to identify the potential researchers. And the third one is ideal and the best platform for producing graphical abstract to be identified. As of now, only Twitter is doing very good. And GA creation team has to be created among the editorial board, and graphical abstract repository have to be kept in the editor in the journal itself. Infographic training and workshop has to be undertaken by the potential researchers and reviewers for creating GS, and linking graphical abstract with the manuscript along with tagging and the proper indexing database, that is PubMed Central, Scopus, all these things. Graphical abstract will increase the visibility of the speaker. And finally, we are all intended to use graphic model, that is GRAPHIC. G is get to know the audience. Second one is restrict the use of colors. The third one will be align the elements. Fourth one is prioritize the parts. Fifth one, highlight the heading. Sixth one, invest in imagery. And seventh one, choose charts carefully. Among all these things, all 7 points very important, but the most important point is invest in imagery. So this is one such article which we published recently on mesenchymal stromal cell therapy for rheumatoid arthritis. Below is the graphical abstract. One images have been kept, and these images explains what the article is about to deal with. This is one other article which is published in Lancet. Totally 4,500 plus authors were there. It talks about the surgical preparedness index and the indicators, how to prepare a surgical system during a pandemic. And I thank everyone for the patient listening. And these are my partnering agents for my research career. Thank you.